Morning, everyone. Good afternoon, I guess. Sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to your September 29th, 2025 Rotary Club of Ames meeting. Let's start today with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. I haven't had any thoughts and prayers presented to me. Does anyone have someone we'd like to keep in mind for a moment of silence here? If not seeing any, let's just keep someone close to you in your thoughts. Okay, thank you. Everyone be seated. We have a couple of guests here. I'd like to turn it over to Tammy to introduce a couple of guests that we have today.
Hi, everyone. Happy Monday. I'm delighted to welcome two guests today, Lorna Carroll and Laura Baskow. And they are with Lights Out Iowa, and I'm tantalizing them with coming to speak next April. So they're here to see how friendly and warm we are. And I also, Lorna is a co-worker as well, doing wonderful work at Stevens Auditorium for us. But please welcome Laura and Lorna.
Welcome, welcome. We're going to go ahead and sing a song for you, too. Welcome to you from Ames Rotary, not way to London or Gateway, the far-off lands or the USA. We're glad that you are here today. Come back again whenever you're near. Join us and then we'll make it clear. Around the world you'll always be welcome at Rotary. Okay, next we're going to talk a little bit about the Plex. We'll be here, boy, I can't see that very well. Next Monday we'll be here as well to start October already, my goodness. And then we'll have online for the 13th and the 20th. It'll be back here at the Plex on the 20th, and then World Polio Day, which we'll hear a little bit about here in a second, is October 24th. And then we'll be back online on October 27th. So here comes October. Next on our agenda, so I did talk about World Polio Day. I'm going to invite Karen Sevdy up to talk just a little bit about that. Karen, you can have the mic as long as you want it.
Thank you, Jamie. I don't need to belabor your time. You have little change cups on your tables. This is for loose change. So you all have some spare change probably lying around, whether it be in your cup holder of your car, on top of your dresser, grandma's cut glass bowl that you don't know what else to do with. So put your loose change in here. We will be collecting during the club meetings in October, and we will donate those proceeds to polio. We will also take cash, checks, credit, debit, Venmo. You get the idea. So please put your loose change in, come back with these Monday. If you want Paul Harris Fellow credit, write your name on your cup holder and we'll make sure that you get credit for your Paul Harris. Okay? So that's all I have. Sorry, Jamie, you're welcome to go.
If they can't get here by the next Monday?
Again on the 20th, we'll be collecting them. And if you are gone for some reason in October, let me know. We'll make arrangements whether you drop them off at my office or I pick it up from you. So we'll get it. All right? Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Always a good cause, as we know. So let's, try to fill those up. I'm going to try to give her as many pennies as I can. And mine would be coming probably from a little coffee cup, whatever. I want to take this moment to thank Tammy Kuhlbeck for all she's done in helping to arrange the catering. We've had wasabi here today. I'm sure many of you, like myself, agree that that was a great choice as well. So it was very good. So I want to thank both Tammy and Wasabi for our lunch today. So let's give them a round of applause. And then on to our speakers today. So I'm going to go ahead and ask Tammy to come up and introduce the group we have here today. Oh, we're going to do that first. Hey, Tammy, we're going to do a new member first. My apologies. We're going to introduce or officially bring in our new member. Allison's going to start that, and then I think Kent's going to do the charge. In fairness, it wasn't on my slide. So.
I know. I'm sorry. That's, gosh darn. Well, I'm happy to introduce David Nelson, and he gave me a little bio, but I'm also going to tell you that when I moved back to Ames in 1996, his parents and another couple that we were really good friends with, we got together quite often, and I know you were pretty young at that point, so we go way back. He's a commercial lender at First National Bank, and he's been with the bank for 4 years. Before that, he worked for Caterpillar in Peoria, Illinois, as part of their leadership rotational program. As I mentioned, he was born and raised in Ames, graduated from Gilbert High School in 2014, and earned a degree from Iowa State in 2018. Madeline is his wife, and they have 2 kids, Eleanor, who's 4, and Daniel, who's 1. They love spending time with family, still in the Ames area, and rarely miss an ISU football or basketball game, so go Cyclones. And we'll invite Kent up to give the charge.
Almost easy after having a victory this last Saturday. Go Iowa State. Right. I mean, what more do I? Seriously, thank you. 31 years. I just figured that relationship. And you know what? But that epitomizes Rotary and the friendships and fellowships we develop over time. You are now a member of 125 other individuals in this club. We also have a morning club in Ames, Iowa. We also have, in the state of Iowa, 3 Rotaract clubs that are on different campuses throughout Iowa. Iowa State, and in Simpson. International. We have projects all over the world with clubs participating with us all over the world. We're exceptionally involved with, particularly in Tanzania, with the water project. And as was just shared, polio has been at our top of our list of eradicating this horrible disease, and we're almost there. You are a part of all of this. Your challenge, as you continue to grow and be a part of us, is not be a being, but be a doer. And I'm sure that you're well aware of what that is, particularly with somebody who comes from Caterpillar, a small little intimate company that has no presence in the world whatsoever. So welcome to the Rotary Club of Ames, and welcome to the opportunity to do service above self. We thank you, David, and we appreciate you being a member.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome aboard, David, and Kent, thank you for that. That's a charge for all of us, really. I think we can all take quite a bit, I did anyway, of those words to heart, so thank you very much for that. Now we get to introduce, I'm sure some of you have seen maybe the smallest, shortest guest we've ever had walking around. We're going to go ahead and introduce our guest speakers today, and I'll turn that over to Tammy.
Thanks, Jamie. Appreciate that. I did want to mention that the mini cupcakes today were courtesy of KHOI as a thank you for allowing them to rebroadcast our programs and our presentations. So thanks to KHOI for donating those. And the animal crackers were in honor of the Ames Animal Shelter today. So I have a 5-gallon, 3-gallon. There's a lot of animal crackers over there, so feel free to take some home to snack on for later today. It's my pleasure to introduce Nancy Carroll and Emily Sargent. Nancy was born and raised in Ames and graduated from Ames High in 1975, and then from UNI in 1979, where then she went on to work for the cities of New Hampton and Waverly in Parks and Recreation. Nancy returned to Ames in 1985 to work for the Ames Parks and Recreation, serving as director between 1991 and 2013. Following her retirement from the city of Ames, she became executive director of Heartland of Story County. That's a big retirement job. She retired from that position last fall after the opening of the new 60 Forward Center. She's now volunteering to help raise funds for the city of Ames' new animal shelter. Thank you, Nancy, for all your work in the community. Emily Sargent was raised in Ames, graduating from Ames High School in 2008. Her parents taught Emily from the young age the importance of serving in her community and has enjoyed her many ways of volunteering in Ames. After graduating from Iowa State in interior design, Emily joined her mother, Els Herbs, to work at an architectural firm together. Eliz. Can you tell that I don't have my glasses on? Emily recently formed a firm offering pro bono services to nonprofits in the Ames community. Being a lifelong animal lover, Emily is excited to volunteer with the Ames Animal Shelter and is thrilled to be on the capital campaign team for the shelter. So welcome.
Awesome. Ooh, does this clicker work? Yay, okay. My name is Emily Sargent. I am a volunteer with the Ames Animal Shelter, and I'm so excited to share with you the work of the shelter and the updates on their new capital campaign project. I want to start by telling you a little bit about the work of the Ames Animal Shelter. The shelter is in charge of caring for animals in our community. This includes strays that get picked up, wildlife that get injured on the road, animals surrendered because their owners can no longer provide care, and animals who are removed from situations when their well-being is in question. We also do vaccine clinics, public education, and of course, adoptions. This dog, Alpine, is an example of the difficult task of rescuing animals who are in abusive environments. I met Alpine my second year volunteering with the shelter. He had the joy of a young dog, but the wounds of neglect and punishment. He was dangerously underweight, indicating prolonged neglect. Alpine was a young Pyrenees dog, so his fur should have been long, thick, and fluffy. Instead, from his severe malnutrition, it was thin, patchy, and mostly had fallen out. The hardest part was the discovery that a shock collar was worn too tight for too long, that it actually became embedded into his skin. Alpine was rushed to the Iowa State Vet College, where they surgically removed the collar and began treating his wounds. Under our care, Alpine put on weight, healed his scars, his fur grew back, and he was adopted into a new family. The shelter sees lots of needs, and they handle it with great care and concern. Many of the animals get reunited with their owners, and others get adopted into new families. Just last year, the Ames Animal Shelter oversaw more than 500 adoptions. The shelter, under the direction of Ron Edwards, has worked hard to transition to a no-kill shelter. This is not an easy achievement, and we are proud that over 98% of our animals that enter our care find the homes that they need. The average length of stay for a dog in our care is just 7 days, and only 22 for cats. This really comes down to two reasons. First, our staff does a great job spreading the word about our animals, whether that's through Facebook, online agency adoptions, or rescue organizations. And secondly, we live in a community that truly loves animals. Unfortunately, not every community is lucky enough to have a no-kill shelter. So one story that comes to mind is when I met Moose, who's with us today. I met Moose early July a couple years ago and instantly fell in love. Not only was he an adorable puppy, but he had a gentle spirit and calm demeanor. I learned that he was transferred to our shelter a few days prior. He was at a small town vet who would take in strays when needed, but being that this was the busy July 4th holiday weekend, the space was already full of dogs being boarded. There was no room for him, and so he was next in line to be euthanized. With nowhere else for him to go, the vet called the Ames Animal Shelter, and the staff said, of course we will take him. So they brought him down to Ames. Once he arrived in Ames, it didn't take long for him to get adopted. And so he was adopted by Natalie, and because of the shelter and the work of the shelter, Moose is here today with Natalie. Natalie, anything you want to add?
I'm almost in tears every time she talks about the potential for him to be put down. So I struggle with that because some dogs aren't as lucky as him. So whatever you can do to help the shelter, help them, take care of these guys until they can find their home.
Yeah, thank you. Natalie is a great advocate for the shelter. She chooses to make the intentional choice to adopt, and I love when she tells people that you can get a good dog at the shelter. Sometimes they're a little bit more work. That's my dog, but but you can. So thank you, Natalie, for choosing to adopt. Let's see. The shelter has over 150 active volunteers. In order to be considered an active volunteer, these individuals complete a training course and serve a minimum of 4 hours every month. In 2024, our volunteers served over 10,000 hours. Our volunteer program is essential to the success of our shelter, so we want to make sure we create a positive environment to maintain a healthy program. But plain and simple, we are out of space. A new shelter would accommodate 3 critical programming needs. First, more space to house more animals, and more animals means more lives saved. Currently, there's a wait list for anyone wanting to surrender an animal, and unfortunately, we are unsure what happens to these animals as they await our care. If we had more room, we could take in more animals like Moose from other smaller communities who do not have a no-kill shelter. Secondly, we could expand our protective custody cases. We currently house animals that need temporary care for a variety of reasons. Sometimes that occurs if a family is evicted and has nowhere for their pet to go. Or other times when an individual unexpectedly enters medical care. These animals remain in our care until they can safely return home. So an example of this, is how the staff goes above and beyond, is when a gentleman unfortunately was unexpectedly admitted into Mary Greeley. The nursing staff knew to reach out to the shelter as the gentleman had a pet who needed care. The shelter staff drove to the hospital, picked up the man's house keys, went to their home to retrieve the animal and their belongings. This animal then was in our care for several days until his owner was back home healthy enough to provide care. And we provided the service at no cost to the family. We serve about 3 or 4 individuals a month who find themselves in emergency health situations. Just last week, we had 2 requests for temporary animal care, but we were not able to take their animals as our shelter is full. We would love to expand the number of kennels we have in order to serve more people in times of need. A new shelter would also allow us to provide in-house medical care. We currently have a great relationship with Iowa State Vet Med, and we have been in conversation for quite some time on how to grow our partnership. Knowing that Iowa State provides excellent instruction and is looking for more surgery opportunities for their students, we could host 3rd and 4th year vet students supervised by their professor to handle our spays and neuters. This could save our shelter approximately $150,000 a year. The savings would help us offset the increased operation costs of a larger facility, as well as allow us to reinvest that money back into our community through free microchip and vaccine clinics. Lastly, we could grow our pet food pantry. We currently have a closet crammed full of food that gets donated from various pet food suppliers. Every week, individuals who need assistance feeding their pets are able to come in and receive free pet food. Not only does this provide essential nourishment for their pets, but it keeps their pets in their homes longer rather than them ending up in the shelter. We currently have to turn away donations because we have no room to store it. So with a new facility, we would have a dedicated space for a pet food pantry. Next, I'll hand it over to Nancy.
Well, first, I always like to know who are cat people. Oh, good. We didn't bring a kitty. We could have, because we have some baskets of kittens sometimes. And then the rest, dog people? Yeah, look at us. I'm a dog person, too. Well, first of all, thank you, Emily, for painting the picture of what an awesome operation and program we have at the Ames Animal Shelter currently. The reason I got involved is first, my history with the city of Ames. And I had known when I was at Parks and Recreation of the facility that's existing down, I always like to say, I don't really know the road it's on, but it's just immediately north of Wilson Toyota. How many of you have been there or driven by? How many of you have been on the inside? A lot of you then. So we need a new facility. That's self-evident. And so I knew that. But when the city manager asked if I would try to help to fundraise for the project, the city was up against two challenges. Either you can try to fundraise the needed balance, and I'll get to that in a second, or it could go for a bond issue. And I was nervous, so was Steve, about trying for a bond issue. You know, just the economy right now is a little challenging, and we knew how desperately this new facility is needed. So we decided let's fundraise it, because we did believe, and the data will show you in a second, we've been very successful because a lot of us in this community really do value and love our pets, be them dogs or cats, or as you can see on the screen, we even have guinea pigs posted, which is Rue. Before I get, though, to the dollars, the other reason I personally got involved and wanted to take on and spearhead with the likes of Emily and a team of other people the fundraising is because after Steve asked if I would consider spearheading it, I thought, well, I'll go down and see the shelter, which, again, check done, we need a new one. And then I wanted to meet the staff and to see what kind of operation it was and is. And I could not have been more impressed. And I think the data proved it out that Emily showed that when you can have 150 active volunteers that donate a minimum of 4 hours a month, and many now have come to find out do that a week, you've got a good thing going. And you wouldn't have that many volunteers taking out time and energy out from their lives if the staff on behalf of the city of Ames didn't run a good shelter. They wouldn't have that volume of people. And Ron Edwards is the director. He's been there now, I think it's over 10 years, and he runs an excellent animal shelter. We're really fortunate that we had him move to Ames. He had an aging mother who lived here in central Iowa. Ron had been in a key role for Los Angeles animal shelter operation, and you can imagine the magnitude of that operation. And so he came here, and he was hired as the head of the animal shelter. And to his credit, he has done remarkable work. The professionalism, the expectations he has not only of himself and the volunteers to always put the animal first are second to none. And so when you start to line up those things, we need a new shelter. We have excellent staff. We have tremendous volunteers. And you can see it in the likes of Emily Sargent. You know, she's poured herself into being a volunteer day in and day out for over a few years now, and then also takes it on to help spearhead the fundraising. So you've got a good thing going. So then when you think, well, all we need is money, right? We should be able to accomplish it. So here we go. The project budget. First, I should just set the stage. How many of you know the city has purchased the location? It's out in the closed Eagles Loft Nest daycare that was out across from the USDA on Dayton Road. And so they paid $1.1 million several months ago now to obtain that site. So with that being said, the estimated project total is $7.5 million. The city council and the mayor approved setting aside $3 million to go towards the project, and it is identified within the city council's goals as a top priority. So we're excited that it's at that level and has that status within the leadership of the city. And so that left us then with a balance of $4.5 million. Before we kicked off the campaign, we wanted to make sure that we could be successful. So we worked behind the scenes and got a lead anonymous donors to come for $3 million of that needed 4.5 before we took it public. So with that being said, we're down to a goal of $1.5 million. The good news is we kicked off the campaign last May, and between May and today, we've raised of that needed 1.5, roughly $1.2 million. Well, and thank you. The applause goes out into the community. Of the 1.3 that we've raised, we did it a two-prong approach. We wanted to make sure that we continued with Emily and I going out and meeting with a lot of households just in pairs, you know, a husband and a wife or single folks, whatever it was of households. We just go out and meet with them because we knew we needed to continue to get naming opportunities and significant gifts to be able to get the 1.5 accomplished. So we've been doing that. And of that, we have about 30 households that have really been the backbone to all of this. And we've brought in of that 1.2 million years to date, roughly over $1.1 million. So though the other $200,000 roughly has come from over 550 households in Ames. And some areas in the country, we've received some gifts that people might have moved away, and so we received gifts. But that the 550 households is really important to us because at the end of all of this, when the facility is open, we want people to feel engaged, they participated, and they contributed. And we've received gifts from $10 from children that have hosted a lemonade stand, all the way up to people that have given like, $10,000 or more just within those 550 households. Because again, we want, like Moose, to save more lives and to make sure that the Ames Animal Shelter is successful within our community. So how are we doing this with the lead donors? And I would sure put this cry out to you today, and is why Emily and I came. We still need to close the gap on the 300,000. And as you, I know some of you in the audience here, as members of Rotary, have been on the fundraising side of things. And it gets harder after you have raised significant dollars to close the gap, if you will. We're confident we will, but that's why we still like to come out and present and let people know what still needs to be accomplished. So we like to start off with, here's just kind of how we can raise money yet. And if any of you are interested, at the end, we're gonna pass out a card that gives a summation of what we have shared with you today, and my phone number's on the back of it. So if any of you are interested in any of these opportunities, you could call me, and again, Emily and I would just come over or have a cup of coffee with you and have more conversation. Required minimum distributions. The city of Ames can accept those. So if any of you need, again, for a tax reason to participate, that would be an option. And gifts can be over 2 years. So even if you've maybe done something with your required minimum distribution for 25, 26 is still right around the corner. The city can accept appreciated stock transfers over being wired, so it's very seamless. And tax and gifts are tax deductible. Sometimes people wonder that with the city of Ames, but yes, they are. And as I'd mentioned, they can be over a 2-year period of this year and then into 2026. And then naming opportunities are still available. And we've got some really fun ones. When Emily talked about the food pantry, one of the local credit unions has taken on and given a significant gift, and they were going to have the food pantry and also the laundry room. And their reason being is, and see, this is the stories behind the scenes are more impactful than I can ever share today, and what Emily shared. the president of the credit union wants his staff to continue to volunteer at the shelter. And so they give credit for hours of volunteering within their benefits package. And it's just really powerful when you think they want to try to spearhead then the food pantry, the restocking and the inventory, and doing laundry for animals. That's pretty cool. And so we have a wide range of still naming opportunities available. And the new shelter is going to be unique. I didn't know a lot of this, even though I've been a dog mom for decades. There's a new way of doing animal shelters versus putting them all in kennels via cats or dogs. And we're having kitty cities. And a kitty city can be where up to 6 cats can just live in an open spaced room. So it's good for bonded pairs and or just ones that are able to play with other cats. And then we also are going to have dog suites, and the same there. So we could put 2 or 3, 4, up to 6 dogs that are able to just be in the same room. So there's just a lot of naming opportunities that are fun. We've had people do naming opportunities for maybe their parents who are now, it's a memory thing for 3 children that just got a hold of me last week that they want to do it in honor of their parents. So it's just all over the map of what we can do. So bottom line, animals matter. You know, I've had a dog, and I'm saying with all of you that have had a dog or a cat, they change our lives. You know, they just give you something when you look at their eyes that just inspires you and gives you hope and encouragement when you come home or when you get up in the morning. And so my encouragement for all of you is if you can help us, please do. We appreciate it, and we need it. And it's an awesome operation down there. So you couldn't be investing in something that isn't 100% a quality fundraising opportunity. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, Emily's Mooses, and of course Natalie, the Moose Mom. So thank you all very much. Any questions or response, we're happy to.
Questions, anyone? Not everybody at once.
Hi, Nancy, of course, know you.
Yeah,
Wow.
Charles.
I have 2 families, and they're 2 dog situations. One of my families has had a toy poodle for 19 years, and they just had to put him down.
Oh, I know.
And I can take it to have questions. Do you have any advice for how you help families deal with the loss of a pet? So that's one question, or
Okay.
one family. The other family had an interesting situation. Their dog swallowed some Scrabble tiles and took them to the vet, and they're still waiting for some word to come out.
Charles, is he not the best one at that? That does deserve applause.
Is that word peace? Is that the word we're looking for?
You
The
know,
dog will
Charles,
be at peace?
all of us have had pets that have passed, and I'm telling you, I think it's the hardest day of your life. And so with that being said, I think it's just, in my mind at least, it's getting together with other people and sharing and crying and telling them how much you loved your animal and reminiscing. And then usually mine is about a month later, I go out and I get a puppy. And I don't know if that's good, bad, or indifferent. We all can tell our stories of how we recovered from losing a pet. But one thing I want to share to that point is that the acreage of the new site is long and linear, and it will be it is 6 acres. And so with that, when we've been out meeting people that have lost pets, they've talked about maybe in the new facility in the future, there could be a little bit of a pet cemetery. And so again, that would be a way then that people could process that, just like we do with our family members in life. So to be determined, but I think, again, my encouragement is to always, I think, reach out to people that you're in relationship with and that have had the same, a dog or a cat, because guess what? They can understand that hurt.
I'd like to give to the shelter in memory of my friend's I like to give to the shelter in memory of my friends' pets when they lose them, and of course my own too. So I think that's a great way to memorialize people's pets.
Pain. That's awesome, Lynn. That's really encouraging.
Hey, Nancy. Lisa Heddens here. So I don't have a question necessarily for you, just a comment. I have a dog as well that I adopted from Story County. But I do know that there is a great collaboration between the city of Ames and Story County that I just appreciate, but I don't know if you want to elaborate a little bit more on that collaboration. I know Anna will say, our director will say, okay, we've got a bunch of cats. Story County's, or Ames has a little bit more opening. We can pass some cats over there, but just
I'll let
appreciate all of
Emily
that.
take, yeah.
Oh, another mic. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We do a great job of partnering when we can. And so Nancy always has a good saying that animals know no boundaries. And so, like, technically there's jurisdiction of what dogs we can bring in depending on where they were found. But we do our best to support other animal shelters. There are really small ones around our community. So if we're full but they're not, we go back and forth. And we do everything we can to keep animals away from euthanasia. But yes, partnership with Anna, and they're doing a great job over there. So thanks for mentioning that.
I'll just add too, they're also a no-kill shelter as well.
Thanks, Lisa.
Yes, and I've had 2 dogs, Great Pyrenees from the Story County Animal Shelter, and yeah, they're good too. They save a lot of lives.
Questions? More questions? Kent's got a question.
Current capacity, you're 100%. What is that? And what is the anticipated future capacity?
Great question. So the square footage, we can start with that. The building itself that you would drive by and notice is about 3,500 square feet. And yet if you look behind it, because it's so limited and restricted, they've had to go out and buy like a trailer and try to put air conditioning in it. So that's another 1,000 or so square feet. So all in, let's just round it up and say it's roughly 5,000 square feet. The existing building that the city has obtained from the day center or the daycare center is roughly 10,600 square feet, and that will be renovated. It'll be totally gutted, and then new construction on the inside. And then because of just the waste and how you deal with dogs, there will be couple thousand square feet added on to the west for the dogs. And so all in, I'm going to say it's roughly about 13,500 square feet. Numbers of dogs and animals served, Emily can feel that.
Well, you have more memorized than I do, actually. So current dogs, I think we can have 12 current dogs right now, and so that gets full pretty quickly. The new facility depends on where the drawings will come in at, but probably 30 or so dogs, which will be great, because a lot of that is actually for isolation or illnesses or dogs that get stressed out easily, or sometimes we'll have bite quarantines. We have to deal with that too. So if there's a dog out who's maybe bit someone, we're the ones who manage that. And then cats, we're at, is it 30, 40? I'm not a cat person, so I don't know.
And I think roughly being able to double that.
Yeah.
There are always a lot more cats than dogs that just need to be adopted. So the reason too that we're trying appropriately to be able, let's just use the cats, take it from 30 to 60 and the dogs from a dozen to 30, is we want future expansion opportunity too. Now the good news is, since it's such a long and linear site, it can be added on to. So we're building, we hope, the current plan for the good 15 to 20 year window, but no, we can do more in the decades to come. Great question. Is that what you were hoping for? Yeah. How many people know what a pocket pet is? That was a new term for me. They were calling them exotics. And I said, well, like, what's an exotic pet? I was thinking like a zebra would walk in or something, Guinea pigs, hamsters,
Rabbits.
and rabbits.
We get birds, snakes, reptiles.
Oh, yeah, moose is not a pocket pet.
Hi, Diane Bjorklund. We lived in a former state that had a huge problem with feral cats, so the local city area had spay and release programs. Knowing that we're in a rural community and there are probably farmers that appreciate their barn cats, has that been a conversation working with Iowa State and working toward that, hopefully?
Yeah, great question, Karen. So we do get a lot of people that come in wanting a feral cat for barns or farms or whatnot. So we have a great program. They're the ones that are often in that back trailer. Some people, they don't love people interaction. So yes, we do a lot of that, but unfortunately we still get a lot of strays that come in with litters. We have kitten season, and sometimes we get peaks and we can have 70 cats in our shelter, and we're just cramming spots for them. So we really do encourage spay and neuter. So we're hoping with that, you mentioned the spay release program, hoping to do more of that with the partnership with Iowa State once we have a space for that. Absolutely.
And one of the things that's been the most exciting to me, just because, again, and I know there's others, Warren and others of you that have been on the business side of an operation, when we were hearing that they were spending currently roughly $150,000 a year to contract out for spayed and neuters and dental work, we said, golly, let's raise the funds to put in a small needed surgery, and again, I don't want to say wing or unit because just 3 beds, room, and then again, the vet students need the experience. So we went out, Emily and I went out and met with them at the vet college and said, are you sure you can bring your students if we invest the capital funds to get this surgery room accomplished? And they said yes, because the students at Iowa State, some of them can graduate and maybe have only done 1 spade or neuter. And it's just because Iowa State Vet College doesn't get the volume to have a lot of experience being offered to them. So this is a perfect relationship, and what do we all not love more when you can do something operation or within the program need to meet with the applied student learning opportunities at the university. So that's just we thought was a huge win. So we don't want to overstay our welcome. Anything else, and we'll be here. Moose and Natalie may leave, but.
I have one quick question too. The Iowa Wildlife Center here in town, I know that you take in wildlife too, and you probably kind of farm them out to the appropriate rehab facility, but have you, as part of this long-term planning, explored that maybe being a drop-off site for wildlife or triage spot, or?
Yeah.
Because you will be so visible?
Yes, great question, and absolutely. So we have a great relationship with them right now, and we'll continue to have that. So one example I have is I was at the shelter, and I heard there was a possum in the back room, and I said, I've never seen a possum up close before. I got to go see him. And this possum unfortunately was hit by a car, and so they found him on the side of the road. So our control officers go out, rescue him. This possum had babies in her pouch, and I didn't know they even did that. So it was really fun to see. But what was great about that is not only did we save the mom's life, the mom was then able to care for her babies, so the babies were then saved as well. So then we reach out to the rescue center, and they take, for instance, that possum or that animal back to their facilities, and they care for them. So we don't care for the wildlife in the shelter, but we act as that triage, and we're excited to continue that.
Great question.
Any more questions? Anyone?
Thank you for having us.
Give them a
Thank
round
you
of
so
applause.
much.
So thank you again to our guests, Lorna Carroll, Laura Biscow, and then our esteemed presenters today. Thank you, Emily Sargent and Nancy Carroll, and Moose and Natalie for bringing Moose and telling your story. So we'll round of applause again. Appreciate that very much. Real quick, on your table, you'll have The Great Gatsby, October 9th. So check that out on your table there. And then also there's a 2025 Ames Artist Studio Tour coming up in October. So please check that out as well. It should be on your table there. I've got a personal story connected to today's. I met my wife. She had a cat, diabetic cat. 19 years ago, the cat passed away. We had been together for 5 years. The cat and I had a love-hate relationship. I was the guy coming in. It was a male cat. I think that's probably why. So I asked her politely if we could wait a year before looking at getting another cat. And she, to the day, a year later, took me in, and she had been looking at the Ames shelter. She'd be looking at Nevada, and she found this beautiful little cat who did not talk a lot. And she took me there for lunch in Nevada and fooled me and walked me into an animal shelter. And I said, "What are we doing in here?" "Well, it's been a year to the day." And here's this little Sophie is what we ended up calling her, not saying a word. Everybody else is talking, and I just immediately fell in love with her. And unfortunately, we lost her last week after 18 years. Just a wonderful cat, wonderful story. And I'm not going to make her wait another year because we do have another cat in the house now that came from my parents' farm. We live out in the country, and we've had 2 feral cats that have come around. And if you take them in to get spayed or neutered, they completely change their attitude, and they get along with our outdoor cats that we have as well that help keep the mouse population down. But those 2 were just walking along, and here they are, and she starts feeding them, and the next thing I know, we got another cat. I'm like, "Well, can you catch him and we can take him in to get spayed?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can do that, you bet," or neutered, whichever the case. So thank you for all the work that you do. It is meaningful work. It is awesome work, and I can't wait to see the new facility. And it is definitely a need, by my wife's words. She's been in there before and said it's a definite need, so that'll be awesome for you. So thank you again. Yes. With that, I'm going to go ahead and say, if we want to stand and do the 4-way test with me. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be efficient to all concerned? Thank you, everyone.